friends, welcome to your channel where you get to learn about crochet. And as I promised, I've come here with the second part of our how to crochet series. This is a beginner's guide, and if you haven't seen my first session, I recommend that you certainly do. I will leave a link in the description box for the first session. You can always go back and learn about the basics of crochet. When you come to the second part, we will talk about, which is this video, we are going to talk about the symbols and how do we read crochet. Now, because this is the basics session, I'm going to only focus on the very basic symbols here. So let's start with the basics. We have a dot, something that resembles a dot, which is called a slip stitch. Next, you will often come across something that looks like an eye. This, my friends, is called a chain. The other one would resemble a plus sign or a cross sign. This is where a little distinction begins. Okay, so when you start reading crochet symbols, in fact when you start reading crochet as a chart rather than symbols, you are sometimes going to come across two ways of reading it. One is the American way and the other is the British way, and I'm going to tell you both, but the symbols remain the same. So these are the basic symbols. One symbol that you're going to come across is something that resembles a T. The other one, the next one would be a T with a little cut across its middle part. The next would be a T with two cuts, and a third would be a T with three cuts. Alright, so these are the main or the very basic symbols that you would ever come across, and believe me or not, most of your crochet projects will be done around these. So these are the basic essentials, but as we learn further, as we come across more symbols, we are going to as we proceed with our projects, I will also acquaint you with how is it symbolized and what are the how do we read it in American and the British format. So on the left on the left, I'm going to talk about the American way of reading, and on the right, let's stick to the British way of writing the symbols. Okay, so in both of these, the dot here is called a slip stitch. Mostly the symbols that you will see for it are the SL and ST put together. These are the same for both American and British, and these are both called slip stitch. Okay. The next one here is what is called a chain, and this is the very basic, the foundation without which you cannot start a crochet project, and thankfully in both styles it is called a chain. So whether you're reading a American script or you're reading a British script, you will see chain, which symbolizes this in both. Now the plus or the cross, this is where the whole distinction begins. In American style, it is called a single crochet. Single crochet. And if you're reading a British script, you are going to find it mentioned as a double crochet. Now, why is this difference? I'm afraid I would never know. It is much like the American English and the British English. So please use your discretion, and please be vigilant when you're reading the crochet symbols or the crochet designs. because this from here on there will be a difference entirely in the project that you work on. The next one, which looks like a T, in American chart or the symbolism, it will be called a half double crochet, written as HDC. That's a half double crochet. And if you were to look at the British way of writing it, it will be called a half treble. Half treble. Okay, moving on. When you come across the T with a little cut around its middle part, it will be called a double crochet in American symbolism. That is a double crochet. And if you were reading a British nomenclature, it will be called a treble stitch, defined as TR, treble. Okay. The next one following the list is called a treble crochet in American, treble crochet. Sorry. And this here in British symbol will be called double treble. Double treble crochet. Sorry, nowadays we've lost the zeal to write, so I'm not sure if it is visible all right to you. It is. Okay. Moving on to the next one, where you have a T with 3 cuts. It's called a double treble in American symbolism. So double treble crochet. Whereas if you were reading a UK term, it will be called triple treble. This was the double, so it will be triple treble, TR. So triple treble crochet. However, when you start reading and you get the symbols rather than the charts, it is much better that you stick to this, because you know which stitch it is, and we are soon going to talk about these stitches. Then a few terms that you definitely want to know. You would see YO, which is yarn over in American details, which will be called YOH, which means yarn over again. But in a British English it would be YOH, whereas in American it will be YO. Then a few things that you will come across is gauge, or how tight or how loose you make a crochet project. It will be called tension in British English. Then you will come across a skip, where they ask you to skip a few stitches. It will also be called either a miss or a skip in British English. The last one, and a very important one that you will come across in the basics, will be to fasten off your work. Fasten off, and this will be the same in both. Fasten off. So my friends, this is the American and British way of symbolizing how the crochet symbols would look and how would you read the charts. Like I said in the beginning of the session, we are only going to talk about the basics today. However, as we proceed, we will talk about the more complicated ones, and I'll also at the same time tell you how to read them. This is all for today's session. let's learn how to start crocheting from the next session onwards. Till then, do take very good care of yourselves. Bye bye.